Iranians. That's Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Happy Sunday to every single last one of y'all. And it seems like we all need a happy Sunday right now. Even the White House needs a happy I have so much to say right now. There's so much going on, so please do me a favor, okay? Because I'm still using this new platform, okay? This new streaming platform, still getting used to it. It's gonna be a little sticky, but we're gonna get through it, okay? I'm just getting used to this whole thing, so please do me a favor. Hit the number 1 to make sure you guys can see everything and all that's going on. We got some things going on, trying some new things in the show, some new features in the show and all that. So please hit the number 1 to let me know you guys can hear the music and you can hear everything else. Okay, the microphone, the music, and all that, not just ambient noise. Because like I said, still getting used to all of this stuff. Yes, number 1's in the chat. Number 1's, now I got that too. Hey. We learning stuff today, guys. We learning stuff today. Okay? Glorious. Yes. So now I can highlight your super chats. I can do all this stuff. So very exciting that I can do all this stuff in this on this platform and whatnot. So I'm very excited about it. So please do me a favor. Still don't have all the bells and whistles just yet. Still getting used to it. Okay? So please do me a favor. Do me a favor before we get into this whole conversation. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it a do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, hit that follow button, please and thank you. Crush that follow button. Follow. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And of course, check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so please go check out pascalmerch.com. All right. Okay, guys, we got some things we're gonna get into, and like I said, I'm still learning a whole bunch of stuff here. Still trying to figure some things out as we go. I'm trying to install these bots and BS and all that because, like I said, it's stuff I have not done before ever. Okay. But nonetheless, there are a few things that have been going on as of late. Okay. Some very, very interesting things that have been going on. Now, I don't know about you guys, but how was your night last night? Was it good? Was it everything you expected it to be and more? Or were you just absolutely shocked by the information that we received last night? And what I'm talking about is, I'm talking about what happened yesterday, last night, after 21 hours of conversations. 21 hours. J.D. Vance had a whole conversation with the likes of Iran and then some. And it just did not work out the way I think that they were expecting it to work out. Just to be completely real. 21 hours, he was in a room with a whole bunch of stuffy shirts, whole bunch of suits, in hopes to make a peace talk actually happen. And what happened here, guys? Nothing. In fact, nothing happened, which is really, really sad if you ask me. I was really hoping for something really big to happen, but we already knew, it was already inevitable that nothing was going to happen. that they were going to be in a stalemate. Oh no, don't worry. It gets much worse from there. I haven't even scratched the surface of the conundrum in which we are in right now. Okay? And the conundrum that we are spearheading towards very quickly, very, very rapidly. It's about to be an absolute cluster F. And I don't think we're fully ready for it. I really don't. Now, JD Vance went and did his thing. And I'm going to say this too. Shout out to Pakistan. Shout out to Pakistan. Because they tried. You know, but for JD, not so much. Not a good thing. Okay? Shout out to Pakistan for trying, okay? For at least trying to make something happen. But when you got two people that are bickering and they're two hard-headed people that are not willing to bend, to try to find a happy medium, to try to negotiate, yeah, your things are not going to go according to what you hoped was going to be planned, like how you hoped it was going to turn out. Let me just say that really quick, all right? This is not at all what I believe they were expecting to have happen. And now we are in a cluster F all over again. And Trump is not making the situation any better. It's getting much worse. And that, to me, my brothers and sisters, is a massive, massive problem. You already see the title up above, down below, wherever you're watching this show. So you already know what the inevitable, what we are going to be sailing towards. See what I did there? What we're going to be sailing towards in this conversation here in just a little bit. You already know that it's already a conundrum. But this conundrum could turn into something much, 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 much worse. Because Trump is already saying to the likes of China, going, no. Don't you even try to help Iran. Don't you even try to do X, Y, and Z. Because if you do, you are going to be in some serious trouble as well. And he's saying this to China. We don't need those issues right now, especially when he allegedly is going to be flying out to China, having a conversation with the leader of China next month as well. So this is not the time to be ruffling the feathers of Iran's ally, or one of Iran's allies, which is China. And we already know China don't play. Okay? China don't play. We already know this. So right now, we're kind of in a cluster F. But I wanted to take us down, take a trip down memory lane real quick and show you guys the actual press conference that JD Vance had for all of us to let us know that what he was trying to do ain't gonna happen. Just ain't gonna happen at all.
That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement. And I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could. And they have chosen not to accept our terms. Questions?
Sir, Nick Robertson from CNN.
Now, hold on. Before we go into this, before we go into the questions and all that, let me be real, okay? JD Vance is the only person out of the whole group of people that's actually out here trying to do something. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here trying to be all like, up his booty hole, okay? I'm not sitting here going, oh, he's a good man. He trying so hard. No, but we do have to acknowledge that he at least tried, right? He sat in there for several hours, 21 hours, where he sat with the likes of these guys, trying to see if he could make a miracle happen, trying to see if he can actually get a conversation popping off. And obviously, it did not turn out the way he wanted it to, okay? whole bunch of coffee, I'm sure, whole bunch of meals, whole bunch of conversations that I'm sure he wanted it to be the inevitable, like to end this whole doggone thing and just be done with this whole thing. And it did not go the way he wanted it to go, which of course is really, it's sad to say the least. It's very sad. But again, when you got two stubborn people that are not willing to find a happy medium, what do you expect? What do you honestly expect? Okay. And yeah, I was going to say that, Lita, but yes, that is absolutely 110% true. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm just going to read the super chat off screen here. Meanwhile, Trump, okay, Trumpy boo. Let me just grab that here. Yep, there we go. Super chat. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Like I said, I'm still learning how to use these platforms, okay? But yes, meanwhile, Trump is at a UFC fight last night, just chilling, enjoying himself. Now hold on. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I can see why people are angry. Absolutely. Because we are at the brink of walking into WW Trace. Is this the time to see sweaty mans wrestling each other and beating each other to a bloody pulp? I don't think so. I don't think that's the time. It's definitely not the time, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay. But Lita, thank you so much, Lita Travels, for the first super chat of the day. I appreciate that. But nonetheless, not great. So I could see why JD Vance is pissed off right now. I get it. I'd be pissed too. He flew all the way out to Pakistan, sat down with a room of dudes for 21 hours, trying to make some happy medium happen, trying to make a miracle happen, literally it's almost like he was trying to squeeze water or blood out of a stone. It's not possible. And he still sat in there for 21 hours trying to make something happen, whilst Trump is over in America enjoying himself, watching UFC fights and stuff with his family, which, by the way, is interesting because Ivanka was with him at the UFC, and her husband allegedly was in the same room with JD Vance and Witkoff, trying to make a peace agreement negotiation happen as well in this room. Wild stuff is going on, guys. Wild stuff is going on. We're going to talk about that more, but let's hear what he got to say. And I get it. I'd be pissed off too. 21 hours and it's still a no. Damn. But remember, Iran has some very, very big demands that America does not want to give them. Like them being able to continue making nukes. I think that's the biggest issue right here. Okay, let's just address the elephant in the room. They don't want Iran to have nukes, but Iran wants to have nukes. There you go. That's the issue right there. Instantly. Okay? So I don't see them seeing eye to eye or finding a happy medium on the situation. It's either no nukes or they get nukes, and that's it, right? But let's continue.
Precisely what have they rejected here? Can you help us understand it a little bit?
Well, I won't go into all the details because I don't want to negotiate in public after we've negotiated for 21 hours in private. But the simple fact is that we need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon, and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon. That is the core goal of the President of the United States, and that's what we've tried to achieve through these negotiations. Again, their nuclear program, such as it is, the enrichment facilities that they had before, they've been destroyed. But the simple question is, do we see a fundamental commitment of will for the Iranians not to develop a nuclear weapon, not just now, not just 2 years from now, but for the long term? We haven't seen that yet. We hope that we will. Jen.
Was there a framework on anything? And also, did the Iranian frozen assets come up? And did you reach any conclusions on those frozen assets?
We talked about all those issues, Jen, and we talked about a number of issues beyond that. And so certainly those things came up. But again, we just could not get to a situation where the Iranians were willing to accept our terms. I think that we were quite flexible. We were quite accommodating. The president told us, you need to come here in good faith and make your best effort to get a deal. We did that. And unfortunately, we weren't able to make any headway. Preston.
Mr. Vice President, how often did you communicate with President Trump throughout the negotiations? There were reports that there were multiple rounds where there were breaks in between negotiations. How often did you communicate with the president throughout those rounds, and what was he saying as you were going through these negotiations that you said fell short?
Yeah, obviously we were talking to the president consistently. I don't know how many times we talked to him, a half dozen times, a dozen times over the past 21 hours. We obviously also talked to Admiral Cooper, to Pete, to Marco, to the entire national security team. We talked to Scott Bessent a number of times. So look, we were constantly in communication with the team because we were negotiating in good faith. And we leave here with a very simple proposal, a method of understanding that is our final and best offer. We'll see if the Iranians accept it. Thank you.
Where does this leave the Strait of Hormuz?
Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu at all today? What about the Strait of Hormuz?
So, yeah. So he's angry, and rightfully so. I get it. I'd be angry too. I'd be pissed. All that energy, all that time, all that effort, all that travel time, okay, to go out of your way to try to make something happen and for you to walk out pretty much empty-handed. It's pretty sad. But I will say this again. You got two opposing sides that are extremely strong, very, very bullheaded individuals, okay, bullheaded sides. And let's be real. We started this fight. Well, or Trump. Let me correct that. Hold on. Trump started this fight. And Iran's not happy about how this fight started. You really think that they're going to bend and go ahead. Okay, that's fine. Take what you need. It is fine. No, I really highly, highly doubt that they are going to do something like that, that they're just going to bend that quickly and that easily. I just don't see it. Personally, I do not see it. Maybe you guys do. Maybe there's hope in this situation, but I just don't see the hope. Okay, I don't see it. Not anytime soon. Especially now that things have gotten even worse. But let's play a little bit more of this just to see what they're saying here.
Did they give you any indication of this?
You've been watching Vice President J.D. Vance speak in Islamabad, Pakistan, where he has been participating in negotiations with Iranian officials over the ongoing conflict. We're going to take a short break.
Okay. Yeah. Again, not the greatest of turnouts. Let's just be real. But he should have already known that this was going to be a problem, that they were going to say, hell to the no, before he even got on the plane to fly out to mother-loving Pakistan in the first doggone place. They said, listen, we will not negotiate with you unless you do these things that we ask you to do. That is it. If you do not want to do that, then we will not negotiate with you. We already knew this way before he walked in that mug. Let's keep it a bean. We already knew this was going to happen. But I get it. You still got to try. You still got to give it a shot. But on some real stuff, I'm not surprised by this turnout. I truly am not. Let's hear what some people have to say about all this, shall we?
As we come on the air, President Trump is weighing in on the outcome of those talks in Pakistan, saying that, quote, most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. He also says the U.S. Navy will begin a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and that any Iranian who fires at us or peaceful vessels will be, quote, blown to hell. There's no word on what Mr. Trump is suggesting was agreed to at this point. According to our new CBS poll, there is increasing concern about the president's handling of the war and its impact among Americans. Those factors and more add up to a new low in President Trump's overall job approval rating for his second term. The inflation report out late last week did not help. It was the worst of Mr. Trump's second term, showing a monthly jump we hadn't seen in nearly 4 years. We've got more on our poll later in the broadcast, but we begin with Saturday and Sunday's dramatic negotiations in Pakistan between the U.S. and Iran. Our MTS Tayyip reports from Islamabad.
There was a real sense of optimism as Vice President J.D. Vance arrived in Islamabad, along with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Just hours earlier, the Iranian delegation had also arrived in the capital city, led by the Speaker of Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. It was hosted by the Pakistanis who helped broker the ceasefire so the talks could happen, the first high-level face-to-face meetings between top American and Iranian political leaders since the 1979 revolution. And after 21 hours of marathon talks, including multiple calls to President Trump, Vice President Vance emerged at 6 a.m. local time.
We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
According to Vance, the key sticking point was Iran's refusal to agree to never develop a nuclear weapon. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Ismail Baghai said the U.S. made, quote, excessive demands, but downplayed the apparent breakdown. One should not have expected that we could reach an agreement in a single session, he said. And while that may not have been the Iranian delegation's expectation to end the punishing 6-week war, the U.S. delegation left the talks more definitively.
We leave here with a very simple proposal, a method of understanding that is our final and best offer. We'll see if the Iranians accept it.
Now, hold on. Chef X, what's up, man? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, you know, sure. It's still, I guess I don't know if it's still good bit. It's a good look, I guess, for trying to create some sort of negotiation. But at the end of the day, if they're not willing to do anything, then it's a waste. But then it's also how we react. How does America react after Iran says, hell no? After Iran says, nope, we ain't cool with this, like kick rocks, F y'all, we want this negotiation or we want what we want on our 10-point peace plan. And if we don't get that, then there's no negotiation. It's kind of how we react after, right? And now we've been seeing now, as you see in the title, how America has been reacting to this situation. It's not getting any better. It's only going to get worse because of what Trump is now wanting to do, which we're going to talk about that very shortly. But again, this is only going to get worse, y'all, which is a very big concern. It should be a concern for all of us, because here's the other thing, too. This means gas is going up, y'all. Yeah, I said it. That means our economy is not going to get any better. Here's the other thing, too. You know, just talking about us, you know, just, you know, selfishly, okay? Just us Americans for right now. We're screwed. It's not going to be good for us. This is not going to be good for our economy, especially with gas and oil and all that. It's not going to be any better. We're still going to be at where we are, or it's going to rise. Those are the only two choices. It's going to stay exactly where it is, or it's going to rise. And there's another interview that Trump had today where he basically said, yeah, you know, sounds like, you know, the gas prices may go up. They may stay exactly where they are, where they're at right now, or they may rise. He literally said it in an interview, which we will be watching in a little bit as well. And you see the anchor's freaking eyes almost pop out of her freaking head. And it's on Fox. And her reaction is like, what? Oh my gosh. Oil and gas is going to go up even more? I didn't expect that. Right? He's doing such a patriotic job starting a war overseas, because that's what Fox does, right? They pull out that BS, that bullshit, to try to make it seem like what they're doing overseas is the right thing to do. It's patriotic when it's not. And it's making the country suffer because of what Trump is doing. And now what he's doing overseas is not making the situation any better. It's making it worse. So like I said, tighten those tighten that belt, guys, because it's about to get a little crazy out here in these streets. Okay? It's about to get a little crazy in these streets, and we don't want that. But unfortunately, that's what we gonna get. We get this here really quick. Hip hop, thank you so much for the love. Have y'all noticed main media would not put out exactly what Iran said? Iran told, wait, hold on, let me read this here. Iran told them they not trying to make bombs, not giving you our uranium. I haven't heard what Iran has said recently, but as far as them saying hell no to the actual, thank you so much for the super chat, to the actual negotiation, clearly to me says like they want to hold on to that uranium. They do not want to just give up their stuff at all. I mean, I feel like that's kind of safe to say, right? But the fact that they're saying that they're not, if Iran is saying that they're not trying to make boom booms, I'd be a little surprised about that. I would be like, I beg to differ, because they are still, or at least they were still launching missiles and doing all that as well. So that would be something very interesting if that were 110% true. But hold on real quick. I need to fix something here. Just want to fix it. There we go. Bang. Okay, cool. So thank you so much for the super chat. But yeah, that would be very interesting and shocking information. If they're like, well, we don't want to make any more bombs. It's like, no, that can't be entirely true, right? But nonetheless, outside of that, Tyler, yes, insane times indeed. I couldn't agree more. And it's only going to get more insane. So hold on to your butts, because it's only going to get more insane. Because Trump right now is not making the situation any better. He's now poking the already awoken bear. And the bear's already been mad. And now it's frothing at the mouth, and it's just batting its claws at everything. Right now it's not getting any better. And I don't know how it's going to get better before it gets worse, if that makes any sense.
Throwing into question whether the shaky ceasefire would hold, if further talks would be held, and whether U.S. forces would return to direct combat. Mushahid Hussain Sayed is a member of the Pakistani Senate.
Are the talks dead, and will we see the war restart?
No. Talks are not dead. There's a stalemate. But the fact is that top leadership met face to face. That's almost a miracle. And Pakistan pulled it off. So I think that says a lot. That shows that both sides are ready, able, and willing to seek a deal.
And now, yes, that is true. That, hey, getting all these people in the same room at the same time to even remotely have a conversation about peace is probably a mother-loving miracle. Sure. But what happened in that meeting? Sure, they got people in the room. Sure, they were able to, at least discuss some things. But at the same time, what happened? What's the end result? Iran is already sitting here saying, hell to the no. Miss me with this nonsense. You could sit here all day long and try to make it seem like, and try to give us every workaround to make some sort of negotiation happen. But if we don't get these things, and we're standing 10 toes down on these, we standing on business. And these are the things that we want. If you can't give us those things, then F you. And we'll just keep on fighting. Sure, it's amazing that everybody came into the conversation. Everybody showed up to the group chat in real life. Incredible. Incredible. But that still doesn't change the end result. Now, here's the thing. Doesn't mean that the offers that were on the table can't actually happen. It doesn't mean that they aren't going to change their mind in the future. Things are still very possible. But at the same time, right now, they said no. And again, it's about how America or Trump handles the no right now. Because he could sit there and go, okay, that's fine. Let's work. Let's try something else out. Let's go back to the drawing board and see if we can come up with another peace agreement with something else. Sure, you want this, and it's non-negotiable, but there's something here we can figure out. Let's find a happy medium. But that's not what Trump is doing now. Now is he? Oh, no. He is not. He is by far not doing that at all. In fact, he has shut down and done a complete blockage, okay, a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, guys. This is no bueno. You think that Iran is going to be okay with this? Do you really think Iran is going to be all right with this? Remember, like, don't get me wrong. I get it that we all have our thoughts about how this war has been done, how negotiations need to be done, and all that. I get it. I get we all have our specific, individualized opinions about how things should have been done. But do you think this is the best choice when you got a country that's sitting there going, nope, we don't want that. We don't want that piece of negotiation. We want this. And instead of him going, okay, let's get back to the drawing board and let's see what we can do to work this out. Because we are tired of the bloodshed. We are tired of blasting each other out of the water. I already said that a whole civilization was going to die tonight. And I could still do that, but I don't want to do that right now. So let's get down to brass tacks and figure out something that will have us all walking away happy and peaceful. But nope, he didn't do that at all. He went ahead and did this. He went and took the Navy. In the Navy, okay? He took the mother-loving Navy, deployed them out there, and said, hey, block them off. Block off the Strait of Hormuz. This is the same, let me just hold on. This is the same country, Iran, that said, we have control of the Strait of Hormuz. This is what they said after Trump said, okay, I'm not going to press the button. Not a whole civilization is going to die tonight. Never mind. I changed my mind. We have a cease agreement. What did Iran do? They said, we have full control of the Strait of Hormuz. It is ours. We are victorious, right? Now Trump is trying to take over the Strait of Hormuz. Do you really think that this is going to keep things cool? Do you really think that this is going to keep everything Gucci? Think about it for a second, guys. Do you really think this is going to make Iran want to sit down again and have a conversation? No, it's not. It's only going to make things worse. And also, this is going to affect the world economy, guys. This is going to affect the world economy. The world economy is about to get effed in the A. You understand? Remember what Trump was doing before, where he was bouncing back and forth, and he would sit there and go, oh, we 20 boats of oil, that beautiful, beautiful gold, liquid gold. I love that oil, right? He got all those things. He was saying, oh, we're going to go in there. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. He was manipulating the market. No, he just completely obliterated the market right now. He completely obliterated the market right now. Sure, somebody out here is thinking that this was a brilliant move, but it ain't. I tell you what, it is not a brilliant move. This is a very bad move. If you are trying to work out some sort of deal or try to get some sort of peace going on, this is not a good move. This is a very, very bad move. This is only going to make Iran even more mad. And also, this could potentially start missiles and a war all over again. A war that we have already gone to a ceasefire agreement, but now he's sitting there going like, I'm just taking it. I'm just going to take it. I'm taking it. Now I have control. This is not good. Now, I can see the likes of somebody like Lindsey Graham just getting off on this. Okay? War. Yeah, cool. You know, he's war horny. You know, him and Pete Hegseth, clearly. But this is not going to turn out to be a good thing. Let's take a look at this. So Trump has announced that the U.S. will blockade the Strait of Hormuz, after peace talks with Iran collapse, which we already heard. It was a complete cluster F, and it was too bad. Hopefully we could figure something out. But he says, and we're going to look at the full statement, okay, in a little bit, but he said effective immediately. The United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. Now, when you hear that, how do you think the world economy or the world market's going to react to this? How do you think that the price of a barrel of oil is going to react to a statement like this? It's only going to go up. It's not going down. It's going to keep going up. Because you don't think that Iran's allies aren't going to be pissed the hell off about this turn of events? U.S. now has the control, or he's claiming will have control, complete control of the Strait of Hormuz. The president said that Iran was unwilling to give up its nuclear ambitions as Vice President Vance returned from peace talks in Pakistan empty-handed. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict he's never used that word before in his life. Interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. It gets even more intense. He says any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. So the president, speaking separately on Fox News, announced that NATO would begrudgingly support the U.S. in securing the strait. He called NATO shameful, claiming that they weren't there for us and they won't be there, and they won't be there for us. They weren't there for us and they won't be there for us. He said he was very disappointed in the UK, comparing Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer to infamous funny mustache man, appeaser Neville Chamberlain. Starmer made a public statement. We will send equipment after the war is over. That's interesting. That's a Neville Chamberlain type of statement. This is what Trump said in a Fox interview. NATO has been reluctant to enter the powder keg Strait of Hormuz, just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, filled with mines and within striking distance of missiles and drones fired from a labyrinth of Iranian mountains. Any move by the U.S. Navy to blockade the waterway would risk heavy losses. So Trump is willing to basically risk it all. He's willing to risk it all just so he has full control over the Strait of Hormuz. And we know how Trump is. If he doesn't get what he wants, he'll make sure he gets what he wants. And this is exactly what we're seeing now. He is not happy about this, and now he's retaliating. I'm sorry, not sorry. He is full on retaliating with this situation. And should we be surprised? I don't know.
A live look here at this radar system showing us some of the disruptions and some of the vessel traffic there at the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I bring up this specific live look because we do have some breaking news to report on this Sunday. President Trump has officially issued a statement regarding those U.S. and Iran talks in Pakistan that have officially ended with no peace deal reached. want to take us out to a social media post courtesy of Trey Yingst. He is a Fox News correspondent. He says this: President Trump has ordered a naval blockade to the Strait of Hormuz. And we also have that statement that was issued via President Trump's Truth Social account. Now, it's quite lengthy, but I do want to read it to you in full. And I know the text is a little small, but again, I will be reading this in full. So it says this, that Iran promised to open the Strait of Hormuz, and they knowingly failed to do so. This caused anxiety, dislocation, and pain to many people in countries throughout the world. They say they put mines in the water, even though all of their Navy and most of their mine droppers have been completely blown up. They may have done so, but what ship owner will want to take the chance? This is a great dishonor and permanent harm to the reputation of Iran and what's left of their leaders. But we are beyond all of that. As they promise, they better begin to the process of getting this international waterway open and fast. Every law in the book is being violated by them. I have been fully debriefed by Vice President J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner on the meeting that took place in Islamabad through the kind and very competent leadership of Field Marshal Asim Munir and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan. They are extraordinary men and continuously thank me for saving 30 to 50 million lives in what would have been a horrendous war with India. I always appreciate hearing that. The amount of humanity spoken of is incomprehensible. The meeting with Iran began early in the morning and lasted throughout the night, close to 20 hours. I could go into great detail and talk about how much that has been gotten, but there is only one thing that matters. Iran is unwilling to give up its nuclear ambitions. In many ways, the points that were agreed to are better than us continuing our military operations to conclusion. But all of those points don't matter compared to allowing nuclear power to be in the hands of such volatile, difficult, unpredictable people. My 3 representatives, as all of this time went by, became, not surprisingly, very friendly and respectful of Iran's representatives: Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, Abbas al-Gharchiri, and Ali Bagheri. But that doesn't matter because they were very unyielding as to the single most important issue. And as I have always said, right from the beginning and many years ago, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
Now, this statement, I get it, okay? Like, he doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And I guess in my mind, I'm like, well, what's another? I mean, how can we get it to happen so that what is the solution here? You see what I'm saying? What is the actual solution? That's my main question. For me, I'm going, what is the solution that is going to make everybody happy? That's just going to get the job done. Everybody will be back. Everybody will be happy. Everything will be Gucci. Everything will be just fine. Where's the happy medium? Because I don't see it anywhere. Do you? Because I truly do not see it anywhere. I don't see an end in sight, guys. I really don't. I really don't see any end in sight.
That statement does continue, and I have the other part here posted up on the screen. He says, so there you have it. The meeting went well. Most points were agreed to, but the only point that really mattered, nuclear, was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in, all being allowed to go out basis. But Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States of America, will never be extorted. I have also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows
Welcome
better
back.
than anyone
In
how
breaking
to end
news,
the situation, which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini and most of their leaders are dead, all because of their nuclear ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with this blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit off this illegal act of extortion. They want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at any appropriate moment, we're fully locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran.
Okay, so again, clearly it sounds like we're going back into war. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it a bean with y'all. I truly think that this means that we're just walking right back into the hands of another war. That nothing is gonna change. Yeah, exactly, Webster. Okay, this is a repeat and rinse, lather, rinse, repeat situation. We're just back in the same crap all over again. And this war that we thought we were possibly walking out of right now, no, we're getting dragged right back in. You know, just when you think you're out, they drag you back in. And I think that's exactly what's going on right now. But I think this is something that Trump wants. Trump wants that oil. And here's the other thing, too. You don't think he wants control of the Strait of Hormuz? I think everything's going according to what he wanted to have happen. It's kind of a situation where he's like, okay, you ain't going to do this for me. You ain't going to work this out with me as far as a negotiation. So actually, I'm just going to go and get what I wanted in the first place. I'm just going to take over the Strait of Hormuz because it's a huge financial gain. And I'll get control of that oil, which is also something that he wants. He wants control of that oil. So again, are we really that? Are we all surprised about what's going on here? About this turn of events? Because he heard, oh, they don't want to negotiate. He's like, damn, no. He's not doing that. He's going, yes. But he's like, oh, yes. Oh, I'm on camera. Oh, that's terrible. They don't want to negotiate with us. Drat. Curses. No. He's like, great. Gives me even more reason to just go in there and just take what I want. Yes. Let's just take it. You see what I'm saying? So now that's exactly where we're headed right now. And I think that he's going to take it by force, which is clearly what he's doing right now with the Strait of Hormuz. But that's the first part. It's going to be the Strait of Hormuz. It's going to be Karg Island. And then he's going to slowly but surely try to, gain control of all of the oil infrastructure in Iran. Now he's like, okay, if you don't want to work it out with us, then I'm going to take it all. Remember, he also said that he would still pull the trigger on wiping out civilization as they know it in Iran. He still has said, I can still do it right now. I can still do it anytime I want. F you, I can do it when I want. That ain't a war crime. I'm going to do what I want. That's literally what he has said. I am not going to stop. You can't tell me to stop. I'm going to continue doing what I do. In fact, my finger's still on that red button. If I want to press it to destroy all the civilization in Iran, then so be it. I could press that button if I want to. He's still standing on that statement, which is now what a lot of people have been claiming, and myself have been claiming, is a war crime. He is still saying, I'm willing to do that war crime. I don't care. Now, he did an interview with on Fox News that we have definitely got to see, because this is just insane. And he's flying off the planet, guys. I mean, we already know this, but yeah, let's take a look and a listen to all of this crap.
For 30 years, I would never allow that to happen before I was in politics.
and that country will not have nuclear weapons. Most countries shouldn't be allowed to have, but that country will not have nuclear weapons.
So, Mr. President, was that the red line there? Can you explain to us what went on in these talks? What did the United States ask of Iran, and how did they react?
Well, they reacted. You know, it was very interesting. It started off weak. They came in like they had the cards, but they don't have the cards. Their army, their whole military is obliterated. The whole place is obliterated, and as you know, levels of leaders are gone. They're literally gone. Khomeini's gone. The whole thing is gone. The whole place is gone. They have one thing that they can do. They can say, well, gee, we're going to put a mine someplace just a mine. We'll drop 1 mine, 2 mines, 10 mines. And that will, if you have a ship that costs $1 billion, you say, well, I'd prefer not getting whacked by a mine, losing my ship, or damaging it badly, at least. And so that's a little bit of a thing that they can do. That it's military might and military power don't do it, but, it's extortion. And they're extorting the world. We don't get our oil from there. We have so much. And one thing you said, and I don't know if anybody heard it well, but we have boats pouring up to the United States. They'll be filling them up, and they'll be leaving, and they're going to be packed with the best oil you can get. Light, sweet crude. They're going to have the best oil that you can get. But so that's interesting, and it's great because we have a lot of oil. We don't get any. I mean, literally last year it was 1%. We did that as a favor. We don't need the Strait. But other countries do. And I will tell you, while we're on the subject, we're very disappointed with NATO. We're very, very disappointed that they didn't come. Now they want to come and they want to help with the Strait, and it won't take long to clean it out. So we're going to clean out the Strait, and they'll be able to use the Strait in not too long a distance. But we had a very intensive negotiation, and toward the end it got very friendly, and we got just about every point we needed, except for the fact that they refused to give up their nuclear ambition. And that's the only point, frankly, to me. That was the most important point by far.
And I want to ask you about that, and I will get to NATO as well. But, Mr. President, you wrote on Truth Social this morning saying that we will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. And at some point, we will reach an all being allowed to go in and all being allowed to go out basis. Right. So tell us what you're trying to accomplish with this blockade,
all in,
sir.
All out. Yep. It's called all in and all out. There'll be a time when we'll have them all come in and all come out, but it won't be a percentage. It won't be a friend of yours, like a country that's your ally or a country that's your friend. It's all or nothing. And that'll be, that won't be in too long a distance. No, we're just bringing the ships up. We got a lot of ships, so we're bringing them up. We think that numerous countries are going to be helping us with this also.
Hold on real quick. How can he say all in, all out without having some sort of peace negotiations with Iran? Either he's going to strong arm this ish, or he has to come up with some sort of agreement with Iran, or Iran is just going to start bombing every single boat that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Think about that for a second, guys. And he's already said, if you try to go after any of these peaceful boats, this is what Trump said, I will blow them all to hell, right? They will all go to hell. This is what he says. This is what he's saying. So again, if you can't actually successfully have this happen right now without actually having an agreement going on. He's just taking the Strait of Hormuz. And what I fear is that Iran is going to react in a way that is going to be absolutely detrimental to the people who are just trying to sail through the Strait of Hormuz. There will be an ongoing war going on in the Strait of Hormuz until further notice. Because I really don't, or until one side completely surrenders. And then here's the other thing too. How is China and the likes of China and Russia, how are they going to react to this situation? Now I get it. Putin and Trump, they tight. They cool. But China? You really think China's going to be okay with America taking full control of the Strait of Hormuz? Because this is exactly what's happening right now. Taking full control of the Strait of Hormuz. Real talk. How's China going to react? Are they going to fly in? Are they going to come in? Is Iran going to start reaching out to China saying, hey, we need some serious reinforcements and we need some serious resources as well. We need your back. We need you to have our back. I'm sorry. We need you here. You don't think that they won't fly in and start getting involved? And no, China's not quiet right now. In fact, Trump is already turning to China because China has been rumbling. I wouldn't say that they're yelling or anything, but there is a rumble going on in China, and China was allegedly starting to help Iran with some resources. And Trump has said, you better not do not one damn thing with Iran. But there was rumbling. But if they start taking control over the Strait of Hormuz and they start messing with other countries' oil, these countries are going to react in such a way of the likes I don't think Trump has ever seen before as well. Like I said, because he keeps on mucking things up and messing with their oil, with their money, etc. You don't think all these countries are going to finally turn to him and be like, you are the problem? WW Trace.
But we're putting on a complete blockade. We're not going to let Iran make money on selling oil to people that they like and not people that they don't like or whatever it is. It's going to be all or none, and that's the way it is. And it'll be, you saw what we did with Venezuela. It'll be something very similar to that, but at a higher level.
And Mr. President, you say that there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them, and this is world extortion. How will the United States ensure that the mines are removed in the Strait of Hormuz?
So we have minesweepers there now. We have highly sophisticated underwater minesweepers, which are the latest and the greatest. But we're also bringing in more traditional minesweepers. And so I understand is the UK and a couple of other countries are sending minesweepers. A lot of countries don't have minesweepers. Think of it. They had 28 mine droppers. What country has 28 mine droppers? 28 boats to drop mines. What country? They've been completely obliterated. They no longer. So we knocked out their entire Navy. They have 158 ships. They have 28 mine droppers. Every single one of them is at the bottom of the sea. Can you believe it? We did that in 4 days. Their Air Force is gone. Their if you look, anti-aircraft, all of their radars out. Anti-aircraft is, their defensive program is all knocked out. They don't have anything. And you know the sad part is, and I can't say this is for you, we knocked out everything, including their leaders. Their military is gone. Everything's gone. Their missiles are down to a trickle by comparison. You know, we knocked out thousands of missiles. We knocked out hundreds of places where the missiles are built, different parts. They're pretty much gone. Probably they say 85, 82%, 85%. Who knows what it is, but we knocked them out. We knocked out where they make the drones, and the drones are less effective now. And also we have new machinery to kill the drones. You saw that. The computerized bullets, they call it, and also lasers. The laser melts the drone. It's a beautiful thing to see. So we have a lot of stuff. But think of it. We win this thing conclusively. Even yesterday they were saying, no, it was a complete obliteration. And when you read the New York Times, you think they're doing well. Oh, they're fighting very hard. It wasn't a hard battle. This was a very easy battle militarily. But when somebody says, you know, we're going to drop a mine in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz, not much you can do to persuade a ship owner that has $1 billion ship that we're going to take a trip up the strait. Now, yesterday you probably saw, we sent 2 highly sophisticated, beautiful, brand new destroyers right through the middle of the strait, and nobody did anything to us because what we do is we follow the weapon back, so it follows back and it knocks out the people on the other side. Literally within 3 minutes, they're knocked out. The technology is unbelievable, but we don't know whether or not they do, whether or not they put mines. They didn't talk about it yesterday. My inclination is to have a few, and I will tell you, it was a good meeting yesterday, really a good meeting, except for one problem, and it's 95%. they want to have nuclear weapons. It's not going to happen.
And this is a key point, Mr. President. For those people out there who have not been following it as closely, can you explain to those people why it was critical for the United States to go into Iran? Can you articulate?
So we're back in that conversation again? Can you please explain to me? Can you please explain to the people why we're there? I mean, that's the thing. That's the problem. We've been in this war for how long? And people still haven't gotten the full memo because even Trump doesn't fully know. Okay? Think about that. They've been changing and moving the goalposts left, like over and over and over again. We've been going left. We've been going right. We've been doing all this over and over and over again. And in the beginning, it was about regime change, was it not? Wasn't that part of the conversation? Regime change. Then it's nukes. Then it's all this other extra stuff. And now, because we have gotten ourselves in such a kerfuffle, it's now about the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, it's just crazy. The classic, yeah. You know, like this straight up. You got this dude, you know, he's saying one thing. One day he's saying one thing, the next minute he's saying something completely different. You know, like at some point, I don't know, man. Like this is just boy, oh boy, we are cooked. We are cooked.
What was behind that move that was so important for the U.S. to go into Iran?
Yeah, so easy. The easiest question you've asked me so far. They can't have nuclear weapons. They have nuclear. They want to enrich what they have. They want to enrich more. As you know, we knocked out with the B-2 bombers. Had we not knocked that out, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month after we knocked out. In other words...
All right, no disrespect. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Okay? This playback speed, just a little bit, so we can kind of cover some serious ground quickly.
The B-2s, those beautiful B-2 bombers, totally obliterated their 3 sites. They have 3 sites. And they are now deep in the earth with, you know, tons of rock. Now, that material should be gotten, but we have cameras on it. We have satellites with Space Force. That was one of my beauties, Space Force. So important. But we're watching those. We're watching every single aspect of that area. They can't move without us knowing.
Yes, and please, guys, please hit that like button. Thank you, Nurse Janice. I appreciate that. Hit that like button. Hit it, please, and thank you. Okay, let's get it to 1K. Can we get it to 1K? That would be dope. Okay, I see a bunch of y'all in here. I appreciate all y'all spending the time with me on this Sunday. The world's going down in a barrel burning cat piss, and we're watching it in real time. Okay, yes, I say burning cat piss because we are literally in it. We are in that barrel. Okay, and we are spiraling off orbit, and we're just holding on for dear life. Yeah. So please hit that like button down below. Let's get it to 1K if you can, please, and thank you. All right. Yes. Hit that likes, babies. Okay. Please and thank you. All right. Let's continue. Have mercy.
Exactly what's going on, but it's deep down, and it takes a long time to get it out. It's an amazing attack. Had we not done that, they would have had, within 1 month from that date, they would have had a nuclear weapon.
Right.
If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it on Israel and the Middle East. Look, they went after 5 countries that were sort of neutral, I guess. I don't know how friendly they were, but they weren't in the line of attack. They dropped on UAE probably 1,800 missiles. They dropped on Saudi Arabia a lot, and they dropped on Qatar a lot. They dropped on Bahrain. They went crazy. And everyone was surprised. Actually, it was good for us because they all joined us immediately, you know, at some point. I mean, they're either going to be petrified or they're going to join. They all joined, and they've been very helpful. All of these countries have been great, and Kuwait.
And this is the key point that I was getting to, and the reason that you feel they cannot have a nuclear weapon because they will use it. And that's what I wanted you to explain to the audience.
Yeah, I think they would use it. And they'd start with Israel, and one weapon would, you know, do damage like nobody's ever seen. Wipe it out, conceivably, big one.
Now,
not wipe it out. They don't need more than one. And then they go after the Middle East, and then they'd eventually come here, okay? And we're not letting them come here, and we're not going to let them. We have great allies over there. I'll tell you, those 5 countries, the Look at the Israeli relationship. Look at the incredible partnership we have on this. And, you know, as Bibi Netanyahu said, we're the big brother and they're the small brother. And, you know, it's been a very effective team. What we've done literally in a matter of days, within 3-4 days, Iran essentially was wiped out. And it's so sad, though, when the press says they're fighting bravely. They're not fighting bravely. They have no anti-aircraft. We fly over there at will, can take out anything we want. As you know, last week I said we're going to strongly consider knocking out their power plants and the rest of their bridges. We took down their big bridge, but we just did that because we were having good discussions. And they go to the press. They're very good with public relations, much better with public relations than they are at fighting.
Okay.
They go to the press and they say, President Trump said it's okay for us to have a nuclear weapon, when I never even spoke to him. And by the way, that would be the only thing I would never say to them. And they know that.
Right.
And then the New York Times, which is a fake paper. It's just a fake. You just believe the opposite. It's so sad when you look at CNN, the New York Times, ABC fake news, NBC fake news. When you look at this stuff, it's so sad to see it. I mean, they report things that they know are false. It's almost treasonous, actually, if you want to really know the truth. It's almost treasonous. But
you know, isn't it crazy that he sounds kind of normal when you speed up his speech? Ain't that crazy? Because I put it at 1.25 right now, and he's actually sounding he's like hold on. You listen to what he's saying here, and I'm gonna put it back to the regular speed. Hold on.
If you're reading the New York Times exclusively, and their circulation, by the way, is way down. Yeah. It's way down. I'm proud to report that. But if you're reading the New York Times exclusively, you would say that they are doing great in the war.
Mr. President,
they're doing terribly.
I want to ask you about
that. The only thing
that.
they have is the ability to say, well, we may have some mines. And, you know, if you have a ship, who wants to take a chance? You're not going to take a chance.
Mr. President, I want to ask you about that because you put out a tweet, and it really gripped the nation a week ago when we were all waiting and watching for the United States' next move should the Iranians not open the Strait of Hormuz. And you wrote this on Truth Social: a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but
So they clearly had a conversation with Trump before he went on to this phone conversation interview, basically saying, like, we just want to be able to clear the air for you, okay, and make you look good. This is Fox News. Let me remind you, this is Fox News. So of course it's like, hey, we're gonna give you an opportunity to just kind of clear the air and solidify a few things, okay, Mr. President. That's all we want to do. So let's ask all the questions that we want to ask you over that you've put out over the last 5-6 days, and all the things that you've been doing as of late recently, and just explain it to the American people, the people that are listening, our Fox News supporters, etc., that are just really worried, right? She started off the interview with, can you please explain to us why we're doing this fight in the first place? Why are we in Iran? Literally, she asked that question. So he knows that this whole thing is about him getting an opportunity to just explain things and shift the narrative, because his base does not support him anymore. His base is mad and they don't want to be led by this guy anymore. They're angry right now. And so now he's trying to do as best as he can to win that base back. Ain't that something? A whole civilization is going to die tonight. But let's hear what he got to say here. And I'm going to put it back to regular speed and check out how slow he talks.
Probably will. However, now that we have a complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something wonderful can happen. Mr. President, you were criticized for this tweet because you said a whole civilization will die tonight. What do you want to say about that? And what can you tell us about next steps here? Are you planning further destruction?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. That statement brought them to the table, with the exception of the one thing, which I believe that they're going to give up on. I believe they're going to give up on that pretty soon, to be honest, because it's not going to work. We actually thought we had them, and then all of a sudden they said, no, we want. So, but I believe, no. And when I say that, but remember, what have they said to us? For years, I've had to listen to them say, death to America, right? They say, death to America, death to Israel, America, the Satan. We will destroy America, death to America. Now, does anybody ever complain to you when they say that? I think that's a big step worse. Death to America. So they're allowed to say death to America. And what I'm referring to is, when I talk about civilization, it'll be much different because their military will be totally gone. It's pretty much gone now. But their military, look at their leadership. we have had regime change because the people we dealt with yesterday were, frankly, very smart, very sharp, very good, very good. I think they were smarter than the people from before, Khomeini and that group. Because look what it got them. Look what all of their antics was spending trillions of. They spent all their money on weapons. We've destroyed most of those weapons. But you know, when I say about a civilization, it really has changed. It really has. But think of it. They're allowed to say death to America, death to this, death to. And I make one statement. They say, "Oh, such a big deal." Let me tell you, that statement got them to the bargaining table, and they haven't left. They haven't left the bargaining table. I predict they come back and they give us everything we want. And I told my people, I want everything. I don't want 90%. I don't want 95%. I told them, I want everything.
Well, and what they
have
want...
no cards, Maria.
Yep.
They have no cards. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Totally gone. They have nothing. They have no ships. 158 ships are at the bottom of the sea. Good ones.
At the bottom of the sea. Now, here's the thing. He says that it's been, everything's been completely obliterated, right? He keeps on saying that. He keeps on saying that, oh, their Air Force is done. Their Navy is done. Their naval, everything's done. Everything's at the bottom of the sea. He keeps saying that, but they're still able to shoot missiles. They're still launching missiles. They're still in the fight. They have not thrown up the white flag, waving it, saying, we surrender. None of that. We have not heard any of that. None. Every time he says this kind of thing, something happens to shock us and surprise all of us. Even him. Even him. All right? So, I don't know.
Good ones. New. The Soleimani, they had one called the Soleimani, was taken out by one of our Tiger Sharks, by one of our rapidly moving submarines. It's amazing. Our military is so good. Do you know our military has a 94% approval rating now?
Well,
Congress has a 14%. The media has a 12%. When I started, the media had a 92% approval rating. Now they're down to 14%.
Wow.
And I'm very proud of it because they're very dishonest.
Mr. President, I see what just took place in terms of our NATO allies pushing back and not supporting you and the United States. And I see what has happened with our Gulf allies in the Middle East who do not want a bully in the Middle East any longer. Are you expecting those Gulf allies to help you in this blockade in the Strait of Hormuz?
Oh, yeah,
what
sure.
other countries are going to join that?
Started. So the Gulf states, now you could say they're much closer, so maybe they have to do it. But, they also could stay out. But they made a mistake when they started lobbing missiles at them. And here's the good thing. The Gulf states, they are rich and they have a lot of Patriots. Our Patriot missile, which is an anti-missile missile, and it's unbelievable. They fired at us one day at a certain asset that we have, namely the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, one of the beauties of the world, one of the great beauties of the world. They fired 101 missiles out of 100. These things are going more than 2,000 miles an hour. And out of 101 missiles, 101 were shot down like nothing and are now at the bottom of the sea, the remnants of them. Think of it, 101 missiles shot. In a short period of time, all 101 were knocked out. So we have the greatest military equipment. We have the greatest people. We have the strongest military in the world by far, and everybody sees it, whether it's Venezuela or what we've done with Iran. And when I read, the fake news talking about how well Iran's doing, they're not doing well at all. They're getting killed. I could take out Iran in one day. I could take out in 1 hour. I could have their entire energy, everything, every one of their plants, their electric generating plants, which is a big deal. And I hate to do it because if I do it, it takes you 10 years to rebuild. They'll never be able to rebuild it. And the other thing you take out are the bridges. I took out one just to show them because they went public with a statement that wasn't true. They admitted it. I say, I'm going to take out a bridge. And I took out a bridge. And that was the end of that. Now they've been really behaving quite well. But in 1/2 of a day, they wouldn't have one bridge standing. They wouldn't have one electric generating plant standing. And they're back in the Stone Ages. I'd rather not do that. But I do believe they're going to come to the table on this because nobody can be so stupid as to say that we want to have nuclear weapons and they have no cards. They have no cards whatsoever.
So if they do not give up that effort, is that the plan? Will you further destruct Iran?
Yeah, I will. If they don't give that plan up, yeah.
What? Yo. So like I said, he's still willing to cause chaos. He's still willing to wipe out an entire civilization, guys. This is massive. He's still saying, yeah, if they're not willing to come to the table and come to some sort of agreement, yeah, I have no problem pulling the trigger. I'll do exactly what I need to do. This is our president, y'all. This is the president of the United States right now. This is this is where he's at mentally right now. He's willing to bring it all out, to bring carnage and chaos. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I can't pull this up. I missed it, but thank you so much, hip hop. 40-year-old playbook, liberate their people or they get nuclear bombs. I mean, shoot. Shoot, man. But thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah. This is demented. It's giving it's giving mentally completely off, right? His brain is completely obliterated. You know?
I'm not in huge hurry. What we want to do is we'll open up the Strait. But the ships are coming up to the United States.
Let's talk about that.
I've been inviting everybody. It's pretty good.
Let's talk about that, Mr. President, because you referred to a post that hundreds of super tankers are headed to the Gulf of America to buy oil and gas from the U.S. What can you tell us about that, sir?
Well, I can tell you that it used to be called the Gulf of Mexico. That's what I can tell you. Now it's called the Gulf of America because of me. One of my little things that I did, one of my little sidelines. And it's a great honor. People are so happy. You go to Louisiana, you go to Florida, you go to these states, Texas. They're so honored by it. I used to say, why is that the Gulf of Mexico when we have 93% of the frontage? And, it fronts 93% in the United States. I said, I think I'm going to change it to the Gulf of America. What a beautiful name. And I did. And I give a lot of credit to Google because once I filed the papers, I did it. And Google Map, once Google Map changed, did it, it was a done deal. But we had lawsuits, we won everything. And it's now the Gulf of America, which I'm very honored by.
But do you expect super
I must tell
tankers?
you, I was thinking about calling it the Gulf of Trump, and I decided not to do it. I think maybe it was a wise. I think that one maybe wouldn't have worked out. I'm not so sure. You'll have to tell me. But I was thinking about it's going to be called the Gulf of Trump. And then I said, that's not going to play too well.
I think you're.
You know I'm kidding.
You're being facetious. I know
We'll
that.
have a headline.
But what about
tomorrow.
oil
I know it would definitely, if he didn't say he was joking, yes, it would be a headline today for sure. And they'd be like, and everyone would be like, he's unhinged. He's already unhinged, guys. But yes, okay, he's already unhinged. But he's already making jokes like, well, just call it the Strait of Trump, right? The Gulf of Trump, whatever the hell you want to call it. Wow, this is yeah. And there's a reason why I sped it up, guys. Okay, I sped this up for a reason, because he talks slow and he does ramble. Okay, he does go off on tangents, in very slow tangents. So I had to speed it up a little bit. Ryder Guy, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Trump is making Iran's argument for them. He says I can do whatever I want when I want. That's exactly why Iran is pursuing the NBEs. I mean, I feel like that's why any country would want or have the NBs. Now, again, I don't think any country should have that kind of weaponry, that kind of power. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if certain countries have those and all that, right? Which is, and maybe again, I understand, given Iran being Iran, but there is a question I've had. There's a question I have in the back of my mind, and yeah, I already know it's going to be a dumb question, but we're here to ask all the questions. If the likes of Russia or any of these other big entities, other countries have access to nukes, why is Iran not allowed to have nukes, but then everybody else is? Someone in the chat, please let me know. Like, I already know, like, they're tyrannical. No, evildoers should not have it at their fingertips, right? But there's another part of it where I'm like, wait a second. If America has it, and Russia most definitely got it, and all these other countries got it, how is Iran not allowed? If majority countries actually have, these big countries actually have access to said things. Is it just because of Israel? Solely because of Israel? because Israel got their own too. You see what I'm saying? So again, I'm curious about that. That's something I've never had fully explained to me, as a bystander, as a guy, just a regular guy on a microphone. That's the one thing I've been thinking about over the past few days. I'm like, wait a second. If we got the football, you know what the football is, right? If we got that at our fingertips and we could do whatever the hell we want, we could easily, Trump in his crazy dementia-ladled mind, you know what I mean? He could literally just open up the football and press the button, right? Turn the switch and press the red button, and it could be a wrap for any country. You see what I'm saying? So that nuke was being launched to. So why are they allowed to have? Why are we allowed to, but they ain't? You see what I'm saying? That just it seems weird. And Angie's saying the same thing. I've been saying that forever, Pascal. Yeah, that's interesting, right? You see what I'm saying? So again, I'm just kind of curious about that. Yeah, Melody also said that. I've been curious. To be honest, I've always wondered that. Yeah, like I said, you can't have nukes, but we can. Wait a second, why? If they can't, then shouldn't that be all of us dropping our nukes? And I don't mean dismantling them and maybe throwing them out. The all world peace type situation. We can have it, but you can't. Now I can see why Iran would be like, word? Wait a second, homie. You mean to tell me you can have it, but we can't? Wait a second. What? That makes no sense. How are you going to negotiate something like that when they all have access to it, right? When other countries have access to it. They have the same amount of, if not more, firepower than Iran when it comes to these NBs. Weird, right? But again, like I said, I already know somebody out there is going to be like, well, actually, the history of Iran and the nuclear bomb, the reason why that's happening is because, and I get it. Thank you so much for all that information. I'm sure somebody's going to send it to me. Here's a video you could check out, so you understand all of it. But at the same time, that's something I just find interesting. We can have it. They can't. Weird. All of us shouldn't have it. You see what I'm saying? But that's just me, though. Give peace a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Orders. Tell me about this, because do you expect empty super tankers to go to the Gulf of America, to go to Louisiana, go to Texas?
Well, they're already coming. Well, Texas, they're going to go to Texas. They're going to go all along our shoreline. I mean, we have the biggest ports, and they're going to go. Remember this, and this is pretty amazing. This is my time. When I came into office, we were third and fourth in energy and in doing exactly this, the oil and gas and other things. Now we're bigger than Saudi Arabia. Think of this. And we're bigger than Saudi Arabia. Add Saudi Arabia with Russia and add another country in there, whichever one you want. We're bigger than all of them combined. Think of that. That's all because of Trump. And when Biden inherited that system, he changed it. Then he tried going back to it because the oil was going up. You remember it was going up $7, $8, etc.
I just want to also just make sure that you heard that he just referred to himself in the third person, just so you know. Yeah. He said, yep, Trump did that. He literally just referred to himself in the third person, just so you know. Let's continue.
But look at even now, we have to get rid of this nuclear threat, and people in our country have oil. People in other countries are getting hurt. One of the things that most amazes me, though, the Strait is for Japan, where they get 93% of their oil. You know that, Japan. South Korea gets 45% of its oil. These people haven't helped us. I say, are you guys going to help? And, we have 45,000 soldiers and 50,000, respectively, at those two places. 45 and 50,000 soldiers. We guard them and protect them. And when we want a little help, they don't help us. And when we wanted help from NATO, they don't help us. And we paid, I don't know if you saw, almost $1 trillion toward NATO in a very short period of time to protect them against Russia, mostly. Yeah. And then when we're there, and Biden, I wouldn't have done this. You wouldn't have had the Ukraine problem. And Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. But under Biden, who was an incompetent president, he was grossly incompetent. Look, the election was rigged. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that now. And it's all come out, and it's coming out.
But see, that's the problem. No one knows that. Oh my God, come on. I know it. You know it. The whole world knows it by now. Who? No. You see what I'm saying? He keeps on putting out all this information that is not entirely correct or true, and people eat it up. This is the problem, because Trump can say whatever he wants, and it comes out to be, instantly it becomes scripture. Real talk. Have mercy. We're here. Like, where's this conversation going? Like, he won. You won this one, man. You are running the country. Move the F on. Move on. Just move on. Have mercy. Yeah, straight of the jacket. You know, that's what he needs to be wearing right now. Not the Strait of Hormuz. He needs to go get straight of the jacket. You know? That's a terrible joke, but you get what I'm saying. And you know what? You know how often he's on the phone? Apparently he's on the phone so damn much. Is he like, what, you know, in my mind, I'm like, is he wearing like a little earbud, you know, as he's talking? And he's just like, the entire time he's like, look, this is what we're going to do. The election was taken. Totally. I know it. You know it. We all know it. You know what I mean? Or is he just having it the phone up against his ear, and he's just sweating? He's just, because it's always been pressed up to his ear, and he's always talking on the damn phone. Is it just forever pressed up his ear, and he's literally just secreting from the side of his face with the phone pressed so tightly on the side of his face, and like the sweat is starting to show up in the crevice of his elbow right there because he's holding his hand. You know what I mean? Is he just doing that the whole time? Have you ever thought about? I don't know why I had thought about that. Sorry, but I'm just saying, damn, it's gross. Or is he just sitting there like in front of a speaker? You know, like he's always on the damn phone. Talking with his hands. Look. China. This is, you know, when this is over, this term, when this whole thing is over, because it will end at some point. I'm just letting you know, guys. It will end at some point. Okay, so when it does end, only in America, you know what I mean? Living in America. Yeah, baby. Yeah, chef. Salvador, Tama, Himmel, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Don King, only in America. When it's over, when it does actually end, can we make presidents diplomatic again? Please? Please? Like, I don't want them to lie to me, but we don't need this. He is unique. Okay? Unique New York. He is a unique New Yorker. You know? He's unique. Can we bring that back again? I'm not sitting here saying like I want all fake, you know, he's just super polished and everything is so well rehearsed. No, but just not this. Not her, but you know, the phone conversation, you know? Is America that scatterbrained? And let me just say this again for all y'all. He should just be happy and just tickled pink or tickled tan. Okay? For the fact that he won. And this is his second term. He should just move the F on. Focus on what's going on with this thing in this war in Iran and kick rocks. Right? But that's not where we're at. Let's get him back to being diplomatic again. Dag nabbit. Let's continue.
But under Biden, if you take a look at what happened when he was president, that's a war that would have never happened. Russia attacking Ukraine.
Yep.
And I ended 8 wars, including Pakistan.
Stop. See, this is the problem. He talks about all these wars that he has stopped. Okay. He keeps on saying that he's stopped all these mother-loving wars. He's done all this stuff, but he started one. He started a potentially massive one. And he keeps saying, look at all this other stuff I did. All these wars that I stopped that weren't even really wars in the first place, but I stopped them. And then he starts a massive one. People have lost their lives. Multiple soldiers, service members are injured. Multiple people have lost their lives on both sides of this war. Casualties galore. And he's still sitting here saying that he stopped 8 wars.
Pakistan, Pakistan was great yesterday. They were the ones that really facilitated the meeting.
Right.
But they thanked us. Every time I see them, they thank me. They say, we're going to have a war with India. And as the prime minister said very openly to everybody, between 30 to 50 million people would have been killed. And I got it ended. I said, if you guys are going to have a war, we're not going to do any trading with you.
Well,
and believe it or not, I got it ended because of tariffs, which the Supreme Court was not nice to me about.
Is this all going to be enough? The blockade in the Strait, the opening up capacity in the United States is this going to be enough to lower the price of oil and gas, sir?
Thank you.
Eventually it's going to be lowered. No, it might not happen initially, but it's going to go down. When this is all over, look, the stock market, the Dow hit 50,000. It was supposed to be in 4 or 5 years. They said it won't happen during his term, but it'll be maybe 4 or 5 years. It hit 50,000 in my first year. You know it better than anybody. You cover it better than anybody. The S&P hit 7,000 in my first year. Before my first year, you know that. And I said to myself, "Oh, here we go. I got to stop this country from having a nuclear weapon." You want to see a stock market go down? Let a couple of nuclear bombs be dropped on us, or frankly, any place else, and you'll see a stock market that goes down. So the stock market has not gone down very much at all. It's gone down a little bit, much less than I thought. And frankly, the gas hasn't gone up as much as I thought. But regardless, even if it did, we have to stop this group of people from having. And again, it was worse because Khomeini was a total, radical. I'll be nice, maniac. He was a maniac, and you can't let them have a.
I'll be nice. He was a maniac.
Nuclear weapon.
Right.
So I just have the greatest economy ever. Everything's going along, and I say, I'm sorry. I tell my economic advisors, I say, I'm sorry, fellas. We're in great shape. We have to go and take a little journey down to Iran, and we have to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. They all said, we agree.
So do you believe the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be. It could be or the same, or maybe a little bit higher. But it should be around the same. I think this.
You see her eyes just kind of bulge out of her head?
I mean, I think so. It could be. It could be or the same, or maybe a little bit higher. But
it's so fast, but she's like, whoa, really? It can go higher? Word? Yeah, guys, we're cooked. We're cooked right now. Her face says a lot. This is Trump. Okay? This is Trump. This is Trump's favorite channel. This is his favorite news network. They can't change what he just said. And you know for a fact, she is also someone, okay, Maria Bartiromo, okay, she's also somebody who's been very much, her job is to speak good about this war. The war is good. What he's doing is heroic. It is a patriotic thing. And that's all they've been doing on Fox News. We all know that. Even Megyn Kelly said something about this, like, yo, this is all, they make us talk like this. We don't have opinions. We're just told to be gung-ho about something that we may not be gung-ho about. But until they get detached from the matrix, they are told to just be puppets. Now, she could be 110% down for what Trump says and believes everything he says is truth. Or behind closed doors, as she's drinking that martini or her little white spritzer before she goes to bed, she could be going off with somebody being like, all he does is lie. I can't believe I'm getting paid millions of dollars to lie to the American people, echoing his lies, right? But her eyes bulged out of her head because right now, gas still ain't cheap, and it's past $4 a gallon in a lot of states, and it's not getting any cheaper anytime soon, especially now that we have the Strait of Hormuz. This could instantly be a good thing. This could mean, it could be a good thing. But that's not what we see right now. It's not in the cards right now for it to turn out to be something good for us. Not yet. I don't see it. Barrels of oil are still up. They have not dropped. Gas is still up. He even said it might go even higher. Yeah. Exposer. It's past $5 in most places, guys. That's insane. Real talk, that's insane. That's crazy. Oil prices, Martin just said, oil prices have nothing to do with Hormuz. Tankers has always been bought, not deliver. Some ships hasn't. Some ships haven't been in the harbor for 15 years, and a lot more float around for 3 years. Interesting. That's interesting news, Martin. Thank you so much for sharing that. But still, a lot of those boats take their sweet ass time to get to their destinations as well, which we talked about and learned about a few shows back, right? So right now we're seeing some bad things. We're seeing some expensive prices right now. In my neck of the woods, it's already past $4. It's already way past $4. Damn near scraping $5. And that's the cheap gas. Okay, we ain't talking about that premiums. The premiums are insane as well. Literally almost at $5 in my neck of the woods. That's just, it's crazy. It's crazy, guys.
It should be around the same. I think this won't be that much longer. They're wiped out. They're wiped out, and you don't get a fair shake. You don't get. We need a free and fair press in this country, and I don't even know why people would do that. Why would they say how wonderful they're doing militarily? They're doing so well. The country is wiped out. We lost one airplane, and we captured the 2 pilots. How about we saved those 2 pilots?
Unbelievable.
Which no other country has the capability of doing. Usually, when that happens, countries wave goodbye. They say, lots of luck, because you're going deep into enemy. We went 7 hours into, it was a 7-hour flight to go in and get them. We had one of the roughest areas, one of the most dangerous areas in the world, and we got both of them. It was incredible. But
extraordinary. And thank God that for our military, and I know that you rebuilt the military. Now, Mr. President, before you go, it was you who did the maximum campaign against Iran in your first term. Is it going to be back to the maximum campaign? You deemed them the leading sponsor of terrorism. And I have to ask you about all of these efforts and the impact on China. What you've done in Venezuela, Iran, even your comments about Cuba. Where does that put China as you approach this meeting with Xi Jinping next month?
Sure. Well, in the maximum campaign, you can't do any more maximum. We've wiped out their whole country, essentially. The only thing left, really, is their water, which would be very devastating to hit. I would hate to do it. But it's their water, their desalinization plants, their electric generating plants, which are very easy to hit. We could hit them. We could have them all down. And I mean down like you couldn't have electricity for 10 years, because it takes you 10 years to build those plants from scratch. You'd never probably be able to build them again. And the bridges. So that's really the only thing. We still have some more missile manufacturing plants. We know every one of them. We'll do that. We still have other things. But when you talk about maximum, I think, outside of those few things that are remaining, I think I pretty much maxed that. You are very, very violent and vicious. I don't want to have you against me. I'll tell you what you say. I think we pretty much maxed out, other than those few items. And we still have some plants left. We had another week left to knock out the rest of the plants, but we were knocking them out fast. As far as China is concerned, China can send their ships to us. China can send their ships to Venezuela. We told them, buy from Venezuela. We have a lot of overcapacity. We'd sell them, and we'll probably sell it for even less money. I have a very good relationship with President Xi of China. We work together very well. They're paying us substantial money, as you know. We've never got money before. I listened to this Gordon Chang. He has no idea what he's talking about. We have been very tough on China. Tough but fair. And, it's an amazing place. But I have a very good relationship with China, and they've been doing I put tremendous tariffs. I put 100% tariff on all Chinese cars coming in, and that's destroying Europe. They're destroying Europe because they're taking away so much business from Mercedes and BMW, et cetera. And we don't have any Chinese cars in our country because they would have destroyed General Motors, Ford. They would have destroyed these companies if they did it. So I put 100% tariff on, and in all fairness to Biden, he allowed it to stay on, which is shocking to me. It's one of the things, it's about the only thing he did good, but he allowed it to stay. So we don't have the problem that they have. They're having tremendous economic problems in Europe. because they're being just swamped with these Chinese cars. We don't have any.
But, Mr. President, just to be clear, you said the other day that any country that supports Iran and sends military equipment to Iran will face a 50% tariff if they try
That's
to bring
correct.
products. Did you refer to China? Did you mean China?
Yes, and other people, but yes, China too.
Okay.
If we find that China, because I hear news reports, so a news report doesn't mean much to me because they're so fake, but I hear news reports about China giving the shoulder missiles, what's called the shoulder missile, anti-aircraft missile. I doubt they would do that because I have a relationship, and I think they wouldn't do that, but maybe they did a little bit at the beginning, but I don't think they would anymore. No, but if we catch them doing that, they get a 50% tariff, which is that's a staggering amount.
And did you want to say anything about our NATO allies in terms of what comes next for them, given that, I mean, is it time for them to call Iran the leading state sponsor of terrorism? And what are you going to do because they did not help in this effort?
Well, NATO is shameful. I mean, I didn't go wild at it. We didn't need any help. I would actually say, if you want to help, great. If you don't want to help, that's okay. And they said, oh, well, would rather not, sir, would rather not. They weren't there for us, If I would have done it with force, maybe I could have gotten them to come in, but they would have come in really begrudgingly, and they would have stayed way behind. No, I'm very disappointed. I mean, look at the United Kingdom. I love the United Kingdom. It's, my mother was, as you know, born in Scotland, and love it. But Mr. Starmer, PM Starmer said, we'll send the equipment after the war is over. I said, you don't need equipment when the war is over. You need the equipment before the war starts or during the war. He said, no, we'll send it after. He made a public statement that we will send equipment after the war is over. It was that's a Neville Chamberlain type statement. And Germany, the same thing. He said, we didn't start this. Well, we helped them with Ukraine. It would have never happened if I was president, by the way. We would have had the problem with Russia and Ukraine, but, we had an incompetent president. But Germany said, it talked all about that we demand, and strong, we demand that this war stop. But most importantly, he said, we didn't start the war. Well, we didn't start the war with Ukraine, but we helped them. I mean, Biden gave them $350 billion. I'm not giving it. I sell things to NATO, and they do what they want with it. I guess they give it to Ukraine, but I sell things at full price. Yeah. And we sell it to NATO, and they do what they want with it. But think of it. To make that statement after we've spent $350 billion, they made a statement. The German statement was bad, but all the statements were bad. No, we have to re-examine NATO because they weren't there for us. And let me tell you, and I've said this for 25 years, they weren't there for us, and they won't be there for us. Yeah. They weren't there for us. This is just a military operation. This is not a hard thing for us. We are so much more powerful. I rebuilt our military in the first term. I'm using it in my second term, and we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. And now I was right with spending all that money on the military. We have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world, and it's amazing what we've been able to do. You look at Venezuela. We're doing so well with Venezuela. Great time to have Venezuela. And by the way, Venezuela now is making more money than they've ever made before, and we're participating in those profits.
Right. Well, Mr. President, we want to respect your time. I know how busy you are this.
Oh, my dear God. And you could tell she's like, okay, we got to wrap it up. Got to do it, And, of course, she only has a certain amount of time, for her show and everything. And there's got to be time for commercials and whatnot. But, that it's just insane how much he just went off and just rambled. And again, all the things that he's doing right now with what's going on in Iran, I personally do not think there's going to be a positive outcome with what he's doing right now, given the fact that he is taking over, doing a naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. I only feel that there is... I just don't see this being a good turnout. I just don't see a positive turnout coming out of this situation. Truly, I don't. Let's take look at a few things here, because he's sitting there like, oh yeah, it's the gas isn't going to get any cheaper. We're still in that situation, right? But then of course, maybe things will change if he's taking over the Strait of Hormuz, but I don't know. One thing is for sure, though, Piers Morgan is saying something different. He's saying that, according to this post, Piers Morgan destroys Donald Trump's fake historic victory. He claims, or he confirms, Iran absolutely controls the Strait of Hormuz, and that the U.S. wasted $30 billion, and Trump's approval ratings are collapsing. It's been a total failure. Let's take a look at this.
Spin about the 11th hour ceasefire agreement, it's worth asking a simple question. Did the US get what it wants? Well, the Strait of Hormuz is open, just as it was before the war began. But nobody is in any doubt about...
Well, I mean, obviously, this is a recording from before the Strait of Hormuz being shut down by America. But clearly, this is not good. And yeah, it's interesting, Steph. Yeah. Did even Piers open his eyes suddenly? Yeah. You got to understand, there is such a MAGA exodus that's happening right now. There's a mass exodus of MAGA happening right now as we speak. And it's been happening. Honestly, everything, the mass exodus of MAGA has been a slow trickle since the Epstein files. Since that. In fact, there's even been a slow trickle since the Butler, Pennsylvania incident where Trump got his ear clipped. There's even people that started to kind of veer away from Trump at that moment too. Yes, it brought some more people being like, yeah, he's a badass. He got up and he kept on pumping his fist saying, fight, fight, fight. And some people think, either it was a setup or the investigation into what actually, behind how this guy was able to get on this slopey roof, take an aim at Trump and all those things. A lot of people are still side-eyeing all that as well. They think it's either fake, or they think that something else sinister is going on, or that Trump has turned into a puppet for Israel after that incident in Butler. So a lot of people are starting to side-eye that as well, right? But the main exodus really started with the Epstein files, when you had the likes of Pam Bondi going out of her way to lie her face off. But again, more and more people, even Piers Morgan, is now sitting here going like, whoa, you out of pocket. Especially now, especially when he committed a war crime on Truth Social, when he threatened the livelihood of an entire civilization. That's when everybody goes, no, we're not cool with that. That's insane. All the other stuff that he's done, fine. But that tweet or that Truth Social post annihilated his base. Yeah. And there's still people out there that are still like, so what? It's just a tweet. No, that's a very serious post. And it's turned off a lot of people. Let's continue.
The fact that Iran controls it. In fact, some versions of the text refer to guaranteeing Iran's dominance. The Iranian regime is wounded and weakened, but there's no doubt that it's the same regime. Several branches have been hacked off, but the trunk and the roots remain. Many of Iran's military targets have been destroyed, but Iran still has its uranium, its ballistic missiles, and its proxies across the region. The Iranian plan, which Trump now calls a workable basis for talks, includes reparations for the damage caused, the lifting of all sanctions, and the release of Iranian funds seized by the United States. It's a multi-billion-dollar windfall. What does he think they'll do with it? And on the question of cost, the US has now spent more than $30 billion on the war so far. 15 US soldiers are dead. Thousands of Iranian civilians are dead. Trump's approval ratings are at a record low, and his base is at war with itself, all as the US prepares for elections, which could handicap or even end his presidency.
Yeah, it's not good. Things are not coming up roses for Trump right now. Things are just getting worse. And I'm wondering what the base is going to act or react to now that he's taken over or is starting to do a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. How is his base reacting to this? Are they for this? Are they saying, yeah, America, yeah? Or are they sitting there going, no, man, you're making it much worse. You're making the situation much worse. Please just stop. Stop. We're talking about negotiations. Let's focus on negotiations. Let's not constantly be making more bad choices for us to walk into more war. Because that's at least what I'm seeing. The more they keep doing this stuff, the more war we're seeing. Does that make sense? The more they keep doing the likes of something that they shouldn't be doing, which is exactly why we were getting angry at Iran in the middle of this war, which is they were shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, and now we're doing it? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. You can't sit there and say you can't do it, but we can do it. That doesn't make sense. Why the blockade? If you're there to open it up, open that mug up and let people in and let people out and be done with it, unless Trump is trying to make some money. And that would be wild if that was the case. But nonetheless, $30 billion being spent on a war that we didn't even want to have. When that $30 billion could have been spent on, I don't know, federal programs, affordable health care. There's so many other things that money could have been used for. But instead, we're using it for war. A war that we didn't even want. So we're putting ourselves even more into debt. We're putting ourselves even more in a hole for a war that he wants, not a war that we even approved. Pretty insane, right? Now, Candace Owens, I didn't get a chance to show you guys this, so I'm going to share it with y'all. Candace Owens definitely was pissed. And she went in. She went in. Now, remember, Trump put up a post basically saying that the likes of Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, he went after them, all of these individuals specifically, basically saying that they're all idiots. They're all dumb, low IQ individuals, insane and crazy. He specifically went after Candace Owens, basically saying that she's even more insane because of her crazy conspiracies. And of course, the whole Brigitte Macron situation. It's a man, baby, right? That whole situation that she's still in the middle of going through right now as we speak. And she made that bet. She's going to lie in it. She's going to have to deal with that. However she gets through with that, we'll see how that all transpires. But nonetheless, he went in. He went in on her and the likes of everybody else. But she had to talk about it. So we got to take a look at this. We definitely have got to take a look at this. She went in, guys. She went in.
I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon, because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They are stupid people. They know it, their families know it, and everyone else knows it too. Look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes, and they never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They are nut jobs, troublemakers, and they will say anything necessary for some free and cheap publicity. Now they think they can get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them, and their views are the opposite of MAGA, or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. Okay, let's park it there, right? Let's just chew on that portion right there first, because it is a stunning break from reality. Because I'll ask the question, do you have any idea why it was, Mr. President, that your old tweets, the sentences you used to say, which were typically definitely insults back in 2015, but do you ever wonder why they worked? I can help you. Ready? It's because they were rooted in some element of truth. Okay. So if you called Rosie O'Donnell unattractive, or when you said Hillary Clinton should be in prison, it played to the crowd because although many people thought it was inappropriate and beneath the dignity of a politician, it was based in truth, right? Hillary Clinton's done some things. Now, you can call Megyn Kelly a great many things. I have definitely had my political disagreements with her over the years. Low IQ? Really? Tucker Carlson, low IQ? Me, low IQ? The three of us unsuccessful somehow? When you write stuff like that, you just demonstrate nothing but your own irrationality. It just doesn't land. Nobody cares about them anymore. Really? You're the leader of the free world, and you're tweeting about us.
Hard facts. Like, he's losing sleep and burning a lot of calories typing that whole Truth Social post out about that, about them. He's they're literally living rent free in his brain so much that he wrote a tweet or a Truth Social post about them. In fact, let's not forget, they are also very important. I can't even believe I'm out here like defending the honor of the likes of Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens. But hear me out. They are also the base that helped him get elected in the first doggone place and in the second doggone place. If you really, really think about it, maybe not so much Candace Owens in the very beginning of that, but her voice and her presence became more and more powerful as years went on, right? Even during his presidency, I think that's when everyone really started to know who Candace Owens was in his first term. But in his second term, she was, in the very beginning, she was a prominent voice for him during the election. Now she regrets it. She's even said that out loud. She has regretted voting for Trump now. Same thing with all these others that are sitting there going like, I regret gay frogs. I regret this, what Trump is doing right now. He's just out of pocket right now. I just don't understand. You got Alex Jones saying all that. You got Tucker Carlson saying things like that as well. But these are all individuals that helped him get elected in the first place or in the second place. And now he's biting the hand that actually was feeding him those voters and those listeners. And he's calling them low IQ now because they don't agree with war crimes.
I think that means somebody cares. Actually, what nobody cares about anymore and what you seem to have an inability to comprehend is that traditional cable news no longer moves the needle. Cable TV is a dying medium. FDR, he used the radio, right? His voice, the fireside chats, it worked. It moved audiences when it was new. And when the world transitioned there, then suddenly it was the dawn of television, JFK's good looks on the screen that served him. And he used that. Once again, fast forward to today, and the world is technologically advancing. Yet you're launching insults at what you don't comprehend. Joe Rogan is not going to do Fox News hits. Do you understand this? He is not trying to get on CNN. None of us are. I don't know how else to help you understand. You are quite literally mocking people because they comprehend something that you don't. Tucker Carlson is more powerful than you. Deep down, I think you know that. And I think you resent that, which is proven by your next lines. Let's read on.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a breath. Hold on. Oh, my damn. Oh. See, you don't, like, I'm telling, she's spitting facts. First off, I love the fact that she said out loud, and like I said, I'm not a Candace Owens fan. I'm gonna keep it a bean. Like I said, this is an unprecedented time. All right, for me to be like, yo, I agree with what she's saying here. Sorry, just surprise. Okay, but here's the thing. So Candace Owens is going in on him and speaking just straight up facts because yes, the internet podcasts, these news shows, the shows like the Pascal show, shameless plug. More people are watching these kinds of shows than they are actually watching Fox or CNN or Newsmax or OAN or CNN, ABC News, NBC, blah 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 blah. Majority of the time, the only time that we see people actually glued to their TVs now is either for a live world event, right? It might be the Super Bowl or the World Series or, a sporting event or, the Oscars or something of that sort. But on some real stuff, everyone listens to their political pundits or the news on their phones or via the internet. Legacy media is dying. I'm sorry to say that, but that is true. So obviously, he leaned on those things for his second term. He went on the likes of Aiden Ross's show, who he's a streamer. He just sits around and he just talks about things that are going on in pop culture. And he's no disrespect to Aiden Ross, but I'm just saying, he's just a guy with a large following, and he got on his show. He got on his stream, which I'm sure helped him tremendously get that young voter base. It was the internet. He didn't go on I don't know, what would be the equivalent of a TV show like a sitcom show now. It's not like he was on SNL doing skits and stuff like that going, vote for me. No. He went to the internet, to these same people, maybe not all of them, but to these people, to this base, to get interviewed and talked about and hoisted on their shoulders, saying he's the next thing. Bring him back, because we need a better country. We need a better America. We need to make America great again. Bring him back. And all the base, all the MAGA base that was listening to all these things, they were listening to it on the internet, on these podcasts, on the YouTubes and whatnot. They go into when it's time to elect, they go in there and they elect and they vote. And that's how he won. It wasn't just him going, oh, I can play golf. I could do so many rounds of golf around you, Biden. No one cares about that. It was about what he was talking about in those interviews that were on the internet with these kinds of people. And then now he's going out. Okay. Now he's going out and talking trash, literally biting the hand that literally fed him those voters and that base that helped him find that younger audience, or that audience that never knew what his policies were, or were thinking about voting for Kamala, but then decided not to after seeing him on that interview in that podcast. Oh, he's so charming. He's so funny. That's the kind of president I want, so on and so forth. It's because of the internet. Look at what he did. It wasn't only just Aiden Ross. He went on the likes of Joe Rogan. He went on the likes of so many other podcasts, not TV, podcasts. And that helped him. And now he's talking ish.
You continue, MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN a 100% approval rating of Trump, not hand-flailing fools like Tucker Carlson who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. Okay. Obviously, Tucker Carlson is in his prime. The whole world understands that. That sentence, he couldn't even finish college. Are you aware that your base is comprised of blue-collar workers who never went to college? Many who never so much wanted to go to college, never dreamed it. The farmers, the ranchers, the plumbers, the electricians, the people who work with their hands. You now stick your nose up to all of those people?
Yo.
Do you know who else didn't go to college? Charlie Kirk didn't go to college. Those men, many, I would say, a lot of the men and women that you and Pete Hegseth want to send to their deaths in the Middle East.
Oh, snap.
Of them, probably most of them didn't go to college. And let me be perfectly clear here when I say that each and every one of them is infinitely more smart and more capable than you and the people that you surround yourself with in this moment.
Oh my God. Like I said, it's not every day. It's not every day that I'm like, yo, Candy O, she got a point there, blah, blah, blah. Today's the day, though. Broken clock can be right 2 times a day. This is just the broken clock being right now. Okay, it's right now. Have mercy. She is see, that's the thing. You don't want to get on her bad side. You don't want to get on her bad side. Do we know this already? Don't we know this? You don't get on her bad side, guys. Never. Yo. Again, she's talking hard points. And here's the other thing too. Isn't that the whole purpose? Like the base that he has, right? The following that he has, isn't the whole purpose is like, oh yeah, I don't want them to think for themselves. I want I want the hardworking man in the such and such that didn't have the college experience, a college education. They didn't get that education because they don't think. You see what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. What he's probably thinking in his mind. I can say whatever, they just believe it as scripture because they don't think for themselves, blah, 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 right? And yet he's talking about these people saying that they're uneducated, but these are the people that are willing to lay down their entire lives for him. In fact, what she said, true. The ones that are out overseas, that are literally laying down their lives right now for a war that we don't even want to be a part of. Good portion of them don't even have a college education. Some of them are even going and have enlisted just so that they can go and get a college education, so they can afford college as well. So again, crazy, right? It's bad. This is bad, y'all. She's spitting nothing but facts, baby. Nothing but mother-loving facts.
But let's continue, because CNN says you got 100% support.
Uh-huh.
You write, or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit.
Oh, by the way, can I just let me point something out? I don't know if she mentions this, but the fact that he says CNN, like MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN a 100% approval rating of Trump, right? Isn't it interesting that he says that, but this is also coming from what he calls later fake news CNN. So if it's fake news, why is he giving us information about a poll, an approval rating from CNN, if CNN is considered in his world fake news? Make that make sense. You see what I'm saying? That lying ass chick, she said I was hot. But she's a liar. But she said I was hot. Huh? But you just said she's a bold-faced liar, but now you're saying that she thinks you look good? You don't think she lying about that too, baby? Make that make sense. Let's continue.
Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is a far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. This Brigitte Macron, who did you write that sentence for? Not even Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron applauded that sentence, okay? They said, incroyable. It doesn't help. Sometimes propaganda, when it's too naked, actually just hurts the cause that it purports to support. What is your obsession with Brigitte? This Brigitte Macron in the swimsuit, you think that you can command people, men, straight men, to suddenly think that Brigitte is hot?
What?
Did you date Jean-Michel Trogneau? Are you gay? Why are you so obsessed calling me from the White House? Stop talking about Brigitte.
Wow.
Is it a physical attraction truly that you had there?
Wow.
Back when he was better?
Did you see a walnut? I didn't see a walnut. Did you see a walnut in that photo? In that bikini? Did you really see a weed whacker? I ain't see nothing. I just saw it. It just looked like like cloth folded. Did you really see a weed whacker in that photo, y'all? Did you see it? Did you see a walnut? Did you see a mushroom head? Anybody? Because I didn't see it. I didn't see nothing. That looked like just loose bottoms to a swimsuit. You know what I'm saying? Have mercy. But okay, moving on. I don't think she's a man. I'm sorry. I just don't. Okay? I just don't. This part she lost me. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you don't see a mushroom head. You don't see a walnut. You know what I'm saying? You don't see a weed whacker. Nobody saw. Did you see the nobody? Moose knuckle? Nothing? Did anybody see anything? Okay. No one saw anything, y'all. Okay? But okay, she had to pull those up. And she's standing there. Brigitte is doing this, like talking, And maybe she stands weird. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, Meg Ryan is a weird runner, and she walks weird. She walks like a man. Doesn't mean that Meg Ryan's a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, have you ever seen, check it out, look it up. Just type in Meg Ryan walking. She walks like a man. Does that automatically mean she a man? It's still Meg Ryan. You know what I'm saying? She's still female. I'm just saying, maybe the jeans were too tight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe her jeans are too tight in that first video. You feel me? But I don't see no manliness going on. I see that she female. Just a very, 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 very skinny female. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
Looking, I suppose, did you sleep with him when he was a man?
Stop.
Do you think people care? To your point about, I hope she wins money since it's all you see, gold, shekels. Do you think your base cares when the subject matter is children that are being statutorily raped by their supervisors? Do you understand that no one in MAGA, in true MAGA, cares about money above truth and protecting children? Did you connect that dot when we revolted against you saying, what about the Epstein files? That seems to be a theme with you. Protecting people who harm children. Why do you keep doing that? Why do you want people to be sued for standing up to that class?
I'm done.
We continue. Let's go back to your message conclusively, right? Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune as he should have. It's all about money for you, Trump, isn't it? Okay. For his horrendous attack on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims, ridiculously claiming that it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers, and they always will be. Now, fake news CNN, who you just cited as saying you had 100% support. So are they fake or are they real, Trump?
Thank you.
Now, the fake news CNN, the failing New York Times, and all of the other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They are not MAGA, they are losers. Just trying to latch onto MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want. But when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on world and country affairs. And after a few times, they go nasty. Just like Marjorie Trader Brown, but I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing what's right for our country. MAGA is about winning and strength in not